With the next Tarkov wipe coming in just a few days, tons of players are excited to load up the game after the patch and hop into their first raid. For new players and experienced ones, everyone is in a rush to try to get into that first raid and see all the new content and try to progress through the game once again. But I would strongly suggest taking your time and not immediately jumping into your first raid without doing a few simple things that will help you set yourself up for success down the road. So let's not waste any more time and let's get into the video. After you decide what faction you want to play as, the next thing that you will see is your stash. The good old-fashioned starting stash, filled with the very basic setup of equipment that everyone typically overlooks. Now for this example, I'm obviously using my account, and this account has the Edge of Darkness edition of the game. Depending on the version of the game that you have, you may have a few more or less items in your stash. But either way, this is something that you can do no matter what version of the game you have. The first thing that I do is go through and equip the better loadout. Now you can definitely still try and use the starting setup that the game gives you, but there's no reason to limit yourself to what the game deems as a first loadout. For example, let's just say you choose to be a USEC. Instead of just starting with the stock M4 with iron sights, you can swap it out with something like the MDR and equip the sight right on it before you even get into your first raid. This will make it a lot easier to aim and kill scavs and players than trying to use a terrible and limiting M4 iron sight. The same thing can be done if you choose to be a bear, but obviously instead of the MDR, you will have some sort of AK series gun or the RPK to use. So before going right into a raid, take a look over your gear and weapon selection because you can definitely start off with a much better loadout than the default. Okay, now that you have a better loadout equipped, you're almost ready to head into your first raid. There's just a few more things that I would do before heading into your first raid that will set you up for future success. The next thing that I like to do is go through my stash and organize it. Combine things that can be combined and move things around. The reason that I do this is not only to keep a clean and organized stash so that finding items is a lot easier, but this will also save you some space inside the stash that will allow you to store more items later on. One thing that I like to do is go through and pack up some rigs and backpacks. This way it clears spots in your inventory, so whenever you come back from a GC raid, you have the room to store these items and can find them easier. Trust me, in the beginning of the wipe, stash is going to become a mess at one point or another. Trying to minimize that as much as possible will only save you a headache later on. This is also going to save you time down the road whenever you start getting more and more into the game and into more raids. Being able to just come back from a raid and dump your items off will keep you in the zone and stop you from having to take a break right whenever you are making progress. Not to mention, if you're playing with friends, it will keep them from waiting around for you to get your shit together. Nothing is worse than being that guy. You know which one I'm talking about. The one that after every single raid has to take 20 to 30 minutes just to figure out how they are going to dump off things in their stash. So organize yourself before going into that raid. That way you won't be fumbling around later, wasting time when you're in the nitty-gritty of the wipe. One last and final thing that I recommend everyone should do before heading into that first raid is go through your hideout and mark as many items as you can on your wish list. This new feature was just added quite recently in the game, and I think that this is extremely valuable. Doing this will help you organize and prioritize items that you find while you are in the raid. Being able to know what items you need for upgrades in the hideout will help you progress so much faster and save you the effort of trying to remember what is most important and what isn't. For example, if you have your hideout items marked, you can then shove them in your secure container, and even if you die, you will have these items with you back in your stash. This is so overlooked in the early stages of the wipe because you need so many different items that it can be overwhelming. But doing this will allow you to progress in the game and upgrade your hideout even if you're constantly dying, because hideout items do not need to be found in raid. So go through, mark as many items as you need to, that way you can prioritize your items in the middle of your first raid. Alright, so if you've finally done all these things, then you're ready to load into your first raid. I hope that these little things can help you out during the chaos of the wipe, and if you have any other suggestions for any other players, please leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you've enjoyed, and drop a like if you didn't think this video completely sucked. Good luck to everyone partaking in this wipe, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.